pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, meeting minutes from April 5th. They're in our folder. Has anybody had a chance to read through the minutes? Did you find it? Could be that, yeah, check the, it should be the, edge logo, Town of Dudley Water Sewer. Okay, we'll bypass that for now then. So, okay, that's, bring it over to Instation and they'll get it straightened out. Okay, 84 Dudley Oxford Road, Patrick Flynn, permission to tie to sewer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Did you sign in?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just so that it makes it easier for
Oh, yeah.
keeping good minutes. Okay, so 84 Dudley Oxford Road, you're looking to tie into sewer, and we have the plan.
They have it here.
Where is it? There we go. Okay, so you're at the corner of Dudley Oxford.
That extended main
And
from
Greenwood
Greenwood
Ave.
Ave. Yeah, it's an 8-inch main. Sewer went out there with them, went through the whole thing, checked it out. A lot of land just about goes right to the manhole. So it's a shot in from the rear of the house to the 8-inch main, right in there, right on the manhole. They shot the invert, and that's right level too. So they get an easy way to get right into it. They should have no problems. Mike signed off on that, and we checked through it, and everything looks good.
well.
You know, your
And that
neighbor,
line
your
is all
neighbor,
good back
that's
there?
her daughter's house back there that put the house in.
Oh,
That's was the reason why when they put houses in there, they extended that over there.
okay. Okay, any questions from the board?
Calling on that's all right.
I'm fine with it, Mr. Chairman. George has checked it out, and like I say, the sewers are there, and there's no
Sewer
infringement,
department will be there when they do their work anyway, so if,
no infringement on anybody else's property.
we'll make sure it is done.
Okay, need anybody care to make a motion?
Make a motion for 84 Dudley Oxford Road, Mr. Flynn permission to tie into the town's sanitary sewer line, as long as he follows all the bylaws and regulations of the sewer department, and if there's any fees due, that the fees are paid to the town before construction starts.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0.
Check with Jen
Okay,
whenever you
just
begin to start.
stay in
so
touch,
we're-
stay in touch with the office so that
Okay, we'll do.
we can be out there to,
Oh, when?
As of today, 5 business days from today.
Okay.
And then, if you will be recorded,
Okay.
or me, and then.
all right,
That's all right. That's okay.
all right, 71B
So it-
Dudley Hill Road.
The rest of this is due until later, just a 3:50.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
and you're looking for permission to tie into water and sewer?
This is the extension?
Extended.
water and sewer.
Extension.
This was the, his original permit ran out.
Oh, yeah. That's the house in front?
House in the front of the,
Okay. But that went up fast.
Yeah, really fast. I've been there for a year.
Well, but I mean, I drove by and then drove by
you
again and
kinda
there's a house there.
get a little
Where'd
bit
that
of
come
the
from?
framing done, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know, all the extra work.
It's been taking forever.
Okay, so you want to extend the permit, the permit had
Yeah.
expired a couple weeks before you
Yeah,
came in?
Yeah, I had met the water and sewer department over there, and they kinda went over what they wanted, the curb stop for the sewer, because we're tying into a forced main on the opposite side of the street.
Okay,
We have to dig all the way across, so we use flow packs
This
to
was
put that
approved
back,
last time.
backfill that, and, I gotta get gallows in to tap it. We gotta tap that, and then we tie the water in too.
okay,
that's the plan from last time.
okay.
Yeah, that's all,
Well, you had brought this to us before,
Yes.
Yeah.
so basically this is an extension of the permit?
Yeah,
Okay, and you came in like a week after it, or 2
Yeah.
weeks after it
And I
expired,
missed-
and then you,
I missed the last one, yep.
what happened to the last month?
I
Last
was
month?
gone, I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't in town, okay.
must be a lucrative job.
So,
I wish I was at a job.
so I guess what's before us today is to extend that permit. Yeah, I think we've all been briefed in on that.
Technically, it's not extending the permit. Once it expires, you can't extend
So it's,
Renewing it,
yeah, it's reissuing a new permit.
renewing for
Good for 1 year, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess nothing's changed since the
No.
since the last time you came in?
It's all the same.
These are highly technical prints.
Yeah, I draw those myself, I don't know if you can tell.
Okay,
I mean, we've had this happen before. People lapse. It takes time to get the construction job going.
okay, yeah, yeah.
I'm in a,
This
the
is
house
the second house on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the issue is the homeowner's in Florida, and he needs to come up, and he keeps, so it's kinda delaying a lot of stuff, so, which delays me, and so.
Okay.
But it's getting done, you know?
Okay, what's the,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we give Rob Elliott for 71B Dudley Hill Road permission to renew, is that the word?
Reissue.
Reissue his water and sewer permits for that particular address, 71B.
Dudley Hill Road.
as the time had expired on his original permit.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, so we're good, and she's gonna do the same thing with you that she did with the last
For
person.
everything, 350 has to be.
Okay, and then, Jesse Road subdivision? Yeah, it must be,
Thank you.
seeing that we don't have any other public stuff,
You good with me?
we're good.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night. You did sign in, right?
Yes, I did, yep.
Mr. Chairman, you have, do you have a copy of that plan?
They do via in there, because we
Okay.
got a PDF. You
That was
only
the
got
same plan as back in 2019. I went over it again with Mike for water and sewer both. They have 3 hydrants in the subdivision. They've got an 8-inch main going in, a hydrant at the end. They're going to be putting an 8-inch out the street, connecting to Alton Drive, down to Mason Road.
So that'll be looped,
Looped.
okay.
They're gonna be, the sewer will be fed into, forced up to Alton Drive in that way. That's the best route to go. Mason's a little bit heavy right now. So that looks good. I think that's a 4-inch line in there. It's the same plan, and we have the same, no reservations on it. It's the same approval as before. Nothing has changed.
I know last month it was suggested that this be sent to peer review, but the planning board refused, basically on the grounds that this is already an approved subdivision. So, all of that would have been done last time around.
So what is he here for?
He's here
Reissuing the permit, basically.
to reissue the permit.
It was here last month, Bob, but was it name change? It was
Yeah,
short.
yeah, we-
Oh, you hadn't finished the purchase.
Yeah, the purchase or name change or
Right.
something, you know what I
Right.
mean?
He hadn't, yeah, the purchase hadn't been completed last month.
So it's a new owner,
New owner, yes, they bought the subdivision.
which I do believe Tom always says that the permits are
That is
null
correct.
and void after it changes hands. And
Right.
have to reapply for a new permit.
Right.
That's
So
what he's doing.
technically, the plan hasn't been approved.
As part of a subdivision,
Right, as part of the subdivision.
yes.
We were asking for a peer review as in regard to the water and sewer connection,
And they won't do it,
and if they won't.
They won't do it, yeah.
Technically doesn't have approval to tie into sewer yet.
correct.
Okay. So, what's your pleasure then?
I still say a peer review needs to be done if you're gonna add subdivisions. How many units? Is that how many?
It was
18.
18.
Yeah, they approved the extension on it, so that was approved last month,
Who approved the
the
extension?
planning board for the subdivision.
Yeah, the planning board is treating it as an old subdivision, not a new one.
So that means we'd have to get our engineer to look at it? Is it?
So I
Right, but
asked,
the only method for doing that is through the planning board.
but they said they
Right.
will not do that because it is an old, and there's
Because
no.
it's an already an approved subdivision.
And even if I explained that we wanted it, he said, it's not something we'll do because it's already been approved. It doesn't have to come in front of planning board anymore, nothing.
So it's approved through planning for septic systems and wells?
No.
So how can they approve it without our approval of tying in water and sewer?
They just extended
They extended the,
an already approved subdivision.
you know,
So this planning board needs to be made aware that our policy is that the connection approvals are expired when it changes hands.
okay, so with this one,
What, do you wanna see the blueprints again then, Bob, or have Ty and Bond look at the blueprints?
But, I mean, like I said, part of the problem is we're overflowing sewer in spots, we're backing up. We need to determine, if you start adding more and more to it, it's not gonna alleviate the issue. So you need to determine if you can handle it sewer-wise and just saying it's only 18 houses and we'll run it this way or that way, all that flow comes down by where we have the problems, does it not?
Yes, it does.
So without having it evaluated and run through the engineer's calculations, I don't see how you can just blindly say, yeah, we can approve it.
You can probably do the water side to start it, and if you have to run the route for the engineer for sewer, either we have to do it, or I don't know what the planning board is.
I don't know how that works with subdivisions and such. I mean, you make a good point, that's a valid point.
We were on the
Yeah, because
verge-
we even
We were on the
after,
verge of running out of water last year.
Yeah.
and even after I, we had a dry period here, a while ago, and we still backed up in front of the post office after a drought,
Right,
and we still had those two manholes pop. So I can go along with Bob's thinking.
so, yeah, again, I don't know how that fits within the subdivision.
I mean, if the planning board's not willing to do it.
Thought was.
The planning board, they have to come up with a plan to figure out how he's dealing with the water and sewer.
So we'd have to, can we send it for review ourselves?
We don't have the mechanism to do that
We don't have the mechanism.
without us paying for it ourselves.
Then that's, yeah,
I'm not in the practice of having our ratepayers pay to design somebody's,
yeah.
to review somebody's design.
What changed
plan it
from
back
back
to
then
them.
to now?
Bounce it
Back
back,
when?
that you want an answer.
When it was approved.
When was it approved?
2019.
So what changed since 2009?
I'm sorry, 2018.
The water side changed, but not,
The one I wasn't on the board then. So, I would've, like I said all along, that all these projects should have peer review and review, so that they're not just blindly saying, okay, connect. Like I said, if you connect and all of a sudden it backs up and we're backing sewer up into your houses, you're gonna come sue the department because you can't handle the sewer. So, you really shouldn't be just blindly allowing anyone to connect into any point in the system without reviewing to see if you have the capacity to handle the flow.
The next question, you mentioned the pumps are gonna go up to the top of Jesse Road. Can a Bonds or E1 pump against that head, that high?
What type of pump is it? Is it a single pump station or individual units?
individual units, I think the Liberties are
So
gonna,
the E1s don't have a lot of head capacity, but the Liberty pumps have
Liberties.
capacity for head pressure.
I mean,
so-
that's quite a height difference.
Yeah, the Liberty ones would do it, the E1s.
See, this is, last time it was E1s into Mason Road for stubs for existing.
yeah, no, that changed too.
The Liberty ones that they sell at the Windwater,
Mhm.
they sell in multiple places, but the E1s you're stuck with.
How about Bonds?
I didn't look at the,
Cause I know it's a
I know.
name that's out there.
yeah, I haven't looked at.
And Webster
the
has
bonds.
some Bonds, I think,
Yeah,
you know?
I haven't looked at their, pump
So that's something I'm glad we mentioned it, it's something to know. Cause we don't want to call.
Last time they were gonna go into Mason Road, but this, because of the INI and the situation, we moved up to
Yeah, so
All
there's,
right.
That changes the
there's
situation.
grounds right there, the situation's changed, now you're going in an opposite direction with about a what? You take the elevation of Lower Jesse Road,
Yeah.
and being 6 feet in the ground, 8 feet in the ground, going to the top of Jesse Road before the crest where it breaks even and pitches downwards, now you've got a completely different scenario versus going into Mason Road.
Well, the problem is I don't know if any engineer can even evaluate that properly because of the fact of what we believe to be true coming down here for the main trunk lines to Fairview and that. That's down the line. That's not something that's not an easy, quick type of fix. That's gotta be researched and analyzed, and so, this is what I'm saying, this would just be, I mean, we're in better shape than we were, but we're always gonna have this issue on our back doorstep till we have this one evaluated of what we have to do down here.
We did have a backup after a dry period with a little bit of rain.
It doesn't matter how far down the path it is. If there's a bottleneck somewhere and you can't handle more flow anywhere before that, then you can't.
Bill's here for a meeting. Was in his office. You want me to see if he can come in?
Who?
Bill, the planner.
I You can
explain
see
to
what their
I
issue
don't
is with,
know. Yeah. Hold on.
And this is another reason for the asset management plan that we're saying that they're trying to say we can't move forward with. You need the asset management plan, because they evaluate all that and you determine where your
Oh, yeah.
bottlenecks are, where your bottlenecks are, where the things are that you need to fix in order to.
well, this is gonna be an ongoing thing for the next many years to come with this old system. But we've made big strides and from coming down the main areas of Alton Drive. We've cleaned all that all out, and so we have a better,
I get that, it's definitely improving.
yeah. But, you know,
But it's still a problem down at
Yeah,
the post office.
What are the repercussions from the DEP when we do have a backup there?
You have an overflow with
Yeah.
the new regs, because there's new regs, within 2 hours.
we have to,
You have to get notification out to everybody. You have to get it out to news media outlets, so you're gonna be all over the news. There's all kinds of things that you just wrote the plan on how to handle it.
yeah, we just went through that and we submitted all that, so, I mean, it's not a,
It is not a simple thing.
no, it's more involved than before the last time, just report it and, you know, they sit on it for a while.
So when was that overflow, the number report?
The last one we had, say, 6-7 months ago, was the one that just started lifting the covers up a little bit. Not as bad as before, but
November?
Well,
It was in November.
that would have been before the requirement for that new plan, so you must have something.
no, it just came in when the new plan was initiated, just when it,
So again, we just issued a new plan, and we're already triggering it, now you wanna add to it.
Okay,
So now
so,
they're being evaluated by the engineers, I don't understand how we can just blindly say, yes, let them connect.
okay, so the question arose with the subdivision. It was an approved subdivision, but it was all approved back in 2018.
Yes, I believe so.
The issue that there are things that have arisen between now and then, between then and now, that make us want to be sure that with the sanitary, with the overflows that we're having near the post office, that we want to have it reviewed. Now, we understand under the planning board process, this is already an approved subdivision. But since then, with the change of ownership, we're now, our situation has changed. So we're trying to find a way to navigate through this.
And he has no valid connection permit or anything from the water sewer department.
Right.
So, without doing a peer review in the added flows as to whether or not it can be, whether or not the system can handle that, we can't move forward on approval. So how does that affect your planning board approval?
Well, you know, the planning board had extended that approval a couple of times. I think it was good for 2 years initially, and then
Yep.
nothing was happening, and the engineer would come in and say, can you extend it another year? The owner's trying to sell the property, so the board did. And then prior to this year, the board said, if you don't show any more progress in terms of, you know, making that project happen, then they wouldn't extend it anymore.
Okay,
But last month, a new buyer came in and said he intended to work on it and asked for the extension, and the board, you know, granted it for another 1-year period. So he's entitled to build that plan as the planning board approved, under, you know, that initial approval.
So can you build all the houses without water and sewer?
Typically, you know, we've relied on your commission to make those judgments. As far as the development process goes, the road construction and the stormwater system, he's got approval for that, and that's what he's entitled to build. But it's your jurisdiction, and, you know, we haven't tried to step on your toes in terms of approving subdivisions with water and sewer systems that you're not happy with. So at the time, you know, I wasn't here, but I'm assuming, you know, you had your staff and or the board itself review the plan and was satisfied with it at that time, so. So we don't intend to reopen the review of the plan, since he already has an approved plan.
With a new, an approved plan with a new owner. That's 5 years old.
So, you know, I see your point in terms of your system may have changed somewhat, but the actual site development of the property and the way he's got the lots divided up and the open space that he's providing and that kind of thing, doesn't change, the
So
road
those-
layout.
Do those plans that he provided in the layout, does it have provisions for a septic system and a well?
No, I don't
Do they
think
meet
so.
the requirements to put in a septic system and a
I
well?
don't think they could
No,
because
I
of the
would
wetness.
doubt it. They're only like half acre lots maybe.
So would the
Yeah.
planning board approve that plan if they said they put in septic and well?
They could, it's Board of Health jurisdiction over private wells and septics.
So the planning board wouldn't look at the fact of whether or not they have water and sewer?
Well, the Board of Health has extensive powers under the subdivision control law. If they say a lot is buildable, then the planning board would exclude those lots from the approval. So that's sort of taken care of in the way the law is written.
So it doesn't take into account the zoning of the property?
Well, the lots conform to zoning,
They conform to zoning for a septic and well?
to zoning for lot size and frontage and setbacks.
But not necessarily for house size and well, septic.
That's not planning board jurisdiction.
Right.
I don't understand how the planning board could approve a plan that has a lot
Well,
that is not buildable without
no, according to zoning, it's a buildable lot,
a buildable lot with a septic and a well.
just according to zoning. Being that it's this many square feet, it has that much frontage, and the house can fit on the setbacks. so to
Typically,
speak.
an applicant would apply for septic system approval after the subdivision plan is approved. And of course, there's a well permit that's required for a private well.
I understand how the well and the septic work, I'm just saying that if an area is zoned for, you know, a buildable lot is so many square feet, I understand if you're in a VR, whatever area, they're typically at that area because they have available water and sewer that's going by, and we say that it's available for them. But if we have not said it's available for them, you can't just say.
Back in 18, we
This-
did.
I'm just
Mhm.
saying
Yeah.
that if the situation changed and the permit is no longer valid, he's coming in for a new permit. So we have to approve a new permit, and if the new permit, if we can't meet the requirements, then it doesn't matter what was approved back then.
Well, can't you have the applicant's engineer do the analysis that you're looking for? Because you have to issue the permit, and if you're not comfortable that it would be acceptable in your system, then you would deny the plan otherwise.
So I can tell you if the applicant's engineer is gonna do the work, well, first of all, the applicant's engineer is gonna look out for the applicant, not in the town's best interest.
Sure.
So, and in order to evaluate what we need done, in order to determine if this can go forward and we would have the capacity, I would have to guess if his engineer is gonna do it, it's gonna be probably $300,000 or $400,000
To do what?
to do the evaluation.
Really?
Because our engineers already have all of our data. They've already done all the hydraulics, they've already investigated the system. We've already, I mean, how much money did we spend last year on time bond doing the sewer evaluation stuff?
Mm.
Oh, God, what was it?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, they've done a number of
Yeah,
different
yeah.
studies on our
And the
system.
II is only a small portion of
Yeah.
it. That's just looking at what we're getting for inflow and infiltration. It's not looking at all the hydraulics, the pipe size, the pump stations and all
Sure.
that. So, like I said, it's gonna be several $100,000 for his engineer to evaluate it appropriately.
They'd have to gather all the information that our engineers
The
already
chair,
have.
Bob, but we wouldn't be looking at water so much with that, more than
No,
sewer.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But just your I&I, just your sewer work. I mean, I'm not so concerned about the water
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah, the water we're fine with, the sewer
Yeah.
is, you know, like I said,
But again, we're saying that based off of your feelings and not our engineers looking at the system as a whole and what we're doing.
Let me just ask another question. I don't remember, but I thought that area can't perk, I mean, there's
Oh, I
an
have it
issue.
down. It's very wet.
It's very wet over there,
That's
so
my understanding as well.
septic is out of the
Septic's not
realm.
a question, without a doubt. The
Right.
road floods.
You know,
But that's
Simple
my
as that,
point.
you know?
Does the planning board make it a practice to look at a plan and say, okay, yep, you can build because it meets these size requirements, even though you don't have available sewer?
Yeah,
The only
that's
method
kind of-
would be to put a septic system in. The septic system won't pass, and I don't think that lot sizes are big enough to install a septic and a well
not without
to begin
variances.
with. So that's, I guess my point is that you're saying it's an approved subdivision plan, but you're approving a plan that can't be done.
I guess it would be up to the applicant then to do his due diligence about the septic systems. If he's got town water available, then he doesn't have to worry about, well buffers from septics. And it'd be a question of the cost of individual septic systems. He might have to do mounted systems. It'd be up to the Board of Health to make that kind of decision. So it's possible he could do septics, I don't know, but it'd be additional cost for him to do that.
I think the real problem here is that we've had a situation over years which has changed. Originally, it appears that the Water Sewer approved this plan, and so did the planning board. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
So now, you've had subsequent changes to it, but those changes didn't come back to the Water Sewer Board for approval, which is the process
Well, I
which
don't
should
think the
be.
plan changed, unfortunately.
The plan didn't
regulations
change.
changed.
The regulations
So our
changed,
regulations that we need to meet have changed.
but it was a new
since that
permit,
point.
or renewal of a permit
Mhm.
that changed.
Right.
And at that process, it shouldn't just have been a rubber stamp to go forward. It needed to come back for another review here, so we could look at our current capacity, our current regulations, for whether or not we could approve. But now at the 9th hour,
Yeah.
we're holding somebody hostage.
Excuse me, I have to leave, I have another meeting that I'm supposed to
Thank
do.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, so,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
okay, sure.
And that's all, infiltration was up in that neighborhood too to begin with. We spent extra money up in that neighborhood on that I&I, so.
But
But
even
there's
the
no
I&I
guarantee how good that system is for what's leaking in now.
The process broke down.
Mr. Chairman, to make this a little expedited, I can make a call to our engineer tomorrow, get his opinion on it, see any costs involved if the applicant's wishing to do a study or whatever, or if there's information that's, they have already due to the I&I, that's helpful, just to see where we stand with that, because we could be going around in circles with this.
So the only other way to do, I mean, the technical way to do it is through the planning board with a 53G count
You're right.
and to do it that way. But if they're not willing to do the right thing and do it the correct way, the only other way would be to find out from the engineers how much it costs. He would have to make a donation to the water department to a special account, and he specifies, this is for engineering to determine, to do a peer review.
Feasibility study or whatever they
Well,
call it.
Peer review, yeah.
So that's the only other way around the planning board, but it's ridiculous to me how much the departments within this town do not work together and they fight each other. We're just trying to do the best thing for the town overall, but they all wanna fight in between the departments.
That's for sure.
It's a simple request to have the planning board use the right process and go through a 53G account to be able to do a peer review to make sure he's not having problems down the road, because all the people he sells his houses to are gonna come back and try to sue him if the sewer's not working, and then they're gonna be trying to sue the town, so.
But like, I wish you guys said that last month when we met, when everything was, okay, you guys are good and there's nothing changing, then we're gonna go ahead and approve it, and then I go and purchase the land, and now I'm running into all this stuff. Like, it's kinda unfair on my end.
Well, don't forget, we did not have a plan. We didn't know what the plan was, and now we know it's the same plan, but, like you said, regulations were changed too.
Right.
But we didn't have anything in hand. You had already purchased it. You had already
No, I
started
didn't purchase it till last week.
that's why I warned you, be careful. All right, we had talked, I said, be careful. The situation there, there's many issues going on there, especially with the water run.
Was Tom at the last meeting?
Yes, he was.
And did Tom mention that the permit doesn't transfer?
Right, yes,
Yep.
So-
And it was mentioned that a peer review wouldn't need to be done.
right. We talked about a peer review last month to send it to the planning board, and then we got this,
So
we
it was
got
all
this
discussed,
response.
but the planning board, there was a roadblock there, not wanting to do peer review, so now we gotta come up with a different way to do it.
I think,
That's not what was discussed last week. We said this is the plan, it hasn't changed, and you guys said, oh, there should be no issues with water, there should be no issues with the sewer.
Well, I don't think we realized we were gonna pump it up to the top of Jesse Road either. I thought we were going out,
I
And
thought,
that's not what
thought we were
was-
going out down Sawmill, I mean,
If you look at the
Mason.
minutes. You have the minutes,
How's this out?
yeah.
I think notifying the engineer first to see exactly, get his viewpoint on it. He's familiar with the whole situation from our I&I studies and that. So it may be something that we can identify right away of what the best course of action is. But, you know, we can talk about it all night too, you know.
Can,
it's just,
Do you have a cost from that last overflow?
I think so. I think we have something. I can't think of it off the top of my head though.
On that, Bob, the scenario could be, a project is built, the LLC is gone, the homeowners are stuck with it, the siphon's backing up, and we're paying the bill. Our 2,500 users are paying the bill. Simple as that.
That's my point.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Good point.
Okay, so you can get in touch with, our engineers tomorrow and,
Yep.
and see what we can get for,
Their opinion.
their opinion.
18 single-family homes with what? 2 bathrooms, laundry? At least 2 bathrooms and laundry?
2 bathrooms, yeah. It says 4 bedrooms.
How many bedrooms?
4 bedrooms.
4 bedroom?
4 bedrooms, yes.
I agree.
Four bedrooms.
I agree.
So that's 2.5 baths, at least.
Probably
2.5 baths, kitchen, laundry.
4 bedrooms is 440 gallons per day per house. You get almost 8,000 gallons a day.
Okay.
Traveling down Jesse Road and down Alton Drive.
In addition to whatever we have.
Yeah, I thought the original
'cause when
plan,
that enters
the original
West
plan
Main
had
Street,
the sewer coming
It's still,
to,
it'll have,
had the sewer going to
the 55
Mason Road,
community
and
and
the
it'll
water
have the Nichols
coming
College
from,
pump ahead of it.
and we had it all looped.
Yeah, the whole plan was loop water-wise
Yeah.
through that, but,
Sewer-wise too.
no, sewer up to they had originally gone, we're thinking of Mason Road, but now, like I said, things changed.
It still had to be
We had to
forced.
still force it
It
up
had
to.
to be forced up to Mason
Drive.
Road, and
Yeah.
that was the original, way back.
It's force main either way, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of whether it's Jesse Road or Mason.
Right.
Alton Drive or Mason.
Okay, all right, so,
You have all his information and his name and
I do.
all right, so let us contact our engineer, and, we'll be in touch soon, to see what we can do to, expedite this, to get this reviewed, okay?
It's kind, honestly, like, it's kinda outrageous that you guys made me believe to go with the commitment, and then I paid the money, big bucks for the land, and now, like, I have to go to this when we met a month ago and none of these issues were risen, you know what I mean? If we had this discussion last week, there's no way I would be committing to big money for a piece of land, and now you guys putting me in this spot after I'm $500,000 in the hole. It's like, none of this was discussed last month when we met.
I wasn't here last month, I would've brought it up then.
Right, but it's, how was it my fault?
Brian was here and he brought up about the peer review.
yeah.
He did.
Again, if you were told that there needed to be a peer review, then we're still in no different position than what we were in last month. Cause that's all we're saying, is it needs to be a peer review to make sure that capacity's there.
Okay. we'll,
The capacity's
When
not
did you
there,
purchase
we
this?
don't know
When did you
Last
purchase it?
week.
You purchased it last week?
Yeah, that's why we came in.
But
back.
we were still in the process of doing a peer review and looking at the architectural plan. You hadn't got it, you're just coming here
Last-
now. And you're telling us you just last week purchased the land
Last-
without approval or peer review.
Last month, when he came in, he hadn't purchased it yet, and that was the issue was that,
We had to go through
We
peer
couldn't do
review
anything
and
because-
and
He
review
was
and
told
review
before
this.
he purchased it that we had to go
Right.
through peer review.
right,
Yeah.
So if it has to go through peer review, I don't know if you assume that peer review means it's automatically approved and we have the capacity. If it was automatic, we wouldn't be sending it through peer review.
so let us find out what,
Let's take it one step. We'll find out to see what the engineer says on this.
okay, sorry about that. Okay, warrant articles.
Just one warrant article we have is for sewer asset management plan.
Okay, and sewer asset management has to go
What
to,
was the
there-
amount in
It's right here.
that? Oh, yeah.
they're saying that it has to go to, capital improvement. And this isn't the capital improvement thing, this is a maintenance thing, actually.
This is,
It's not a capital item, it's a state requirement, actually, and with a review and analysis.
this is not a capital project, this is not a capital anything.
You
There's
can
no,
keep that one.
All right, thank you.
there's no physical thing to it. It's not a fire truck, it's not a building. We're
Yeah.
evaluating the entire system, all the assets of the sewer system, which this is part of, this last thing. If this was already done, we would probably have more answers.
Send a letter to John, or call John and talk to him tomorrow and tell him about this team. As long as I'm
Okay.
talking to him.
I know there was an email that went around during the week about putting a warrant article out there. I'm not sure who did you forward that to? Was that just me?
I forwarded it to you and Bob, and then I dropped it in everybody else's OneDrive.
Okay, it's in here. There was an email that came out with a long list of unpaid bills to the town.
Did you finish the asset management one already? Did we move on from that?
The asset management article, it's not a capital project. And I
No,
know that.
No, for capital improvement, just for the warrant. We have it
For the warrant
yeah,
article,
we have
right.
the
That's what I
warrant.
mean, warrant article.
Yes,
Right.
for the warrant.
What's the dollar amount? 185?
185,
185.
133 of it is,
Yeah, give him the thing. My glasses aren't good.
133 should be, no.
Can't even read out of these.
111 is a grant, 55 in-kind services. no, 30
yeah, it's gonna cost us like
so
38,000.
37 in cash and 37 in, I guess, in-kind services.
Right,
So, they wanna go through the capital plan for a $185,000 project, that's not funded through the town, it's funded through the water department or the sewer department. It's gonna cost our users $37,000 instead of $185,000.
right.
And it's not an asset, there's no physical.
There's no, there is no,
Capital.
there's no capital. Okay, asset management.
So we'll identify all the capital things that need to be done.
Okay. So, that email that came through was a list of supposed unpaid bills to the town over the last, in 2022 and 2023. Or
One from 2022 and the rest from 2023.
2023, and they wanted to put a warrant article in to cover those. Jen and the
This is different.
Jen and the town accountant went through and found the payments or the signed vouchers and the ledger ledger line items for every single one of them, except for one that we hadn't even received yet. So it basically, again, what, more issues of water, yeah, they said poor bookkeeping. They said we hadn't paid it, but they
we did it.
proved it out very quickly that it had been. That was Monday.
Correct.
'Cause I remember, yeah, I heard about it over the weekend.
Friday, I
Right.
received an email late Friday afternoon
Right.
about it.
So I have to read through again, but
That's fine.
the,
I can explain it too.
right, but
Go ahead.
all the bills we processed,
Yep, went
but did they,
through the accountant.
were checks written and,
The accountant did her part.
yeah,
I don't know what happened after that.
so, I mean, you're saying that we
What's the
We
amount?
did.
paid them all, but we
We-
didn't really pay them. We
Well-
authorized payment for all of them.
Right.
We authorized payment for all of them, but
So
they
a
were paid
voucher
to the
was
town of
signed and
Dudley.
then sent
They
out
were all to the town of
Debbie.
Dudley. They're
So
Check.
everything was done.
basically
Right
a
here.
transfer.
They were signed, and they were sent out for processing.
What's the total amount for all this together? What did it round off to, you know?
Oh,
It was a lot of money.
it was a lot of money,
Oh, yeah, it was a couple
It was
$100,000.
all the,
All the
group
insurances.
health insurance, Medicare, postage,
Hmm.
and they were all,
They had all been processed.
This is part of that where I've requested a million times in the past that we have expenditure reports and, accounts receivable, you know, the expenditure and revenue reports. And that's one of those where if we were keeping track of what we've authorized to bill.
Yep.
And you look at your numbers and you say, the expenses are this, but we say it should be this. Where's the extra $150,000?
it was already taken out of, like, if you looked, the accountant took it out of the money.
Took it out of our
So it's
budget.
taken out of our account.
Yep,
Right.
she
So-
took it out of our account, it was all taken care of. The, yeah,
So as far as our books and everything
it was
go,
paid.
So who says that, who needs to write an article?
So the email, came to me from the town administrator, and the treasurer had sent the town administrator the email stating that we failed to pay all these bills
That were paid.
that were paid.
So we failed to hold his hand and write the checks out?
But,
Because we did all the part that we had to do, he
yes,
needed to actually
and
do
Right.
his part.
this was at like 4:30 Friday afternoon, so.
So, we didn't have any company or entity or any come after us for any type of?
No, no.
Okay.
This is basically transfer.
This is
a-
an internal
This is an
from-
internal transfer from one department to another.
The town pays. the
So we're
bill,
paying them back
and
for-
then they're
supposedly
trying to
for
get-
what we-
They're trying to get the money out of us to pay our portion of it.
Okay.
We authorized all of that.
Yes,
They
and
took
the
it,
person that does the transfer from this account to that account didn't do it.
no, Debbie did that,
I'm
but,
just
But
saying that-
but the person who
they
report,
never sent the check out.
they never, well, there is no
Not a
check to
check.
send
Yeah,
out.
there
No
was
check,
no-
it's an internal.
There were
It's
no
an internal.
vendors, there were
I
no
understand what's
vendors.
about. Yeah, I mean,
Never
look,
sent
But the
electronic check.
bookkeeping at that, the big bookkeeping at that department didn't happen.
Yeah, if it was Ty and Bond, you would have heard about it, or
But there- yeah.
Windwater, you
Oh,
would have
yeah.
heard
Right.
about
what
it.
I'm saying is that, you know, that there was a, you know.
oh no, I've heard about,
I know, yeah, tell me
but
about it.
it was,
I know too.
it was upsetting to
To
me,
you, I can understand that.
because I try to take pride in, and
The
I make
bookkeeping.
mistakes.
Right.
But it was
No.
also upsetting that it had to go from the office that the problem was with, didn't contact me directly. Went,
Yeah,
So technically, even if we had the expenditure report, our books were still balanced.
correct.
right.
Cause that's first thing Monday morning, I went to the accountant to be
So,
sure.
were there any other warrant articles that had to be, I thought there was something else that we had to,
Do you need, you had mentioned that after your meeting with Webster, something about money.
Oh, yes, we,
We put that in for the sewer.
we need to, from our meeting last week with Webster.
Raise the,
Yeah, 10%.
I spoke the next day with our consultant, and he suggested that we may want to increase that line item more,
more than the 10.
anticipating that we may have to pay some true-up. You know, I've gone back and forth, and to be honest, I mean, any true-up, we can wait till November to transfer it out of retained earnings to pay for it.
There's plenty of sewers
Yeah,
okay.
if you made additional payments, is that money's not gonna be earmarked for where it's supposed to go? you know, we talked about that 10%,
It'll be
okay.
another true up that will just send it back the other way
Yeah.
next year.
Now, it's gonna be
No,
bouncing
no,
around.
I don't
no,
agree with that in the end.
It was to put it into that line item, not to spend it starting in July, but it'd be
just-
sitting there,
just sit
sitting there as
it.
an excess, just, just in case
Not to send it
some
on.
bill ended up popping up in, later on, yeah.
Face it when
I mean,
you get it.
I would rather be
Can you
transparent,
explain
and
to
when
me
we get the
why you
number,
can't
we can
communicate
come to the
with me?
taxpayer
Right.
or the ratepayers and
And
say,
say, yeah, we need to do this.
I don't talk to you too about it. You come in the
Juggling
meeting.
money around.
Okay.
You need to straighten this out.
it's just gonna be,
That's
you're gonna
fine.
put some in there, then we
And he
didn't
told
put
all
enough
the
in there.
selectmen.
And he said it could go either way.
All the selectmen.
And it would
and
look
that-
like a budget item, which you're setting
That's been
rates on,
rectified.
and I don't wanna use a
Trust me.
one-time payment from
I hope so. Did you tell the
12-year
board that?
true-up as a
Yeah,
factor for
well,
rates.
In the email.
The
not
front
the
page.
I'll run on TV now and say, hey,
Chairman,
just to let you know that.
front page of the Worcester Telegram Gazette this morning
Well,
was
it's up to you. Just-
Town of Holden won
Oh, yeah.
$7 million
$27 million.
true up
I wanna meet
against
with you and
Against the
the
city
town
of
of
Worcester.
Worcester
Yeah.
I wanna know why.
for
Yeah.
the very
So-
same thing,
With me.
overcharging on the sewer.
I think I've been
Um,
anything but nice, you know.
So, that's it for the warrant articles.
Perfect.
Okay.
They have,
Okay, so, and I will be adamant this time around, when they review these questions, when they review this question to put it on the warrant, that the wording that we give them is what goes on the warrant,
The sewer asset management.
for the sewer and asset
I
management.
gave them exactly what Ty and Bond, and I said, this is the exact wording that Ty and Bond needs us to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanna make some little,
Photostatic
I
copy.
tried.
some little frilly stuff, fine, but
No,
the
no,
meat and
don't
potatoes
wanna
of that.
do the frills.
No, that's
No,
perfect.
That's
The
it.
article the way-
The article is,
Yeah.
that's the way it needs to go. Okay. All right, performance evaluations. We have in our packet, we have we had the information for George's review. First, it was for, the form that was originally in there was for non-exempt. Jen did change it for for an exempt employee.
I made a mistake, see?
That's,
I made a
and
mistake.
that's honest. And then, because the first line on it said, what is, setting goals based on or how was the performance appraised based on the lines on the job description. So I asked Jen for the job description. In the job description folder in our packet, the job descriptions she sent us were the ones that came from the corner office, which is what would be officially record, but they are the ones that came from that consultant that we had never reviewed. I read it and I said, I've never seen this before. And it took a little while to realize what was going on.
It's not
It
very.
was from Jacobs. And it's very boilerplate, cookie cutter, mostly legal schmiegel stuff. Not necessarily specific to the job.
That's correct.
So then I called Jen again. Now, this was the many, many phone calls. And she immediately found the original job descriptions, the ones that we crunched when George took over as superintendent, when we crunched the water superintendent, the sewer superintendent into one job.
Yeah, we wrote a job description.
Yes.
And that was my issue, is trying to evaluate to their job description, which isn't his job.
So
That's the same problem I have when doing hers. It's not.
in the folder labeled George's review,
Unfortunately, I don't have a folder.
okay, yeah, we'll get that straightened
Well,
out.
Jen, you're
In
batting
there
100.
is the review form, George's old review, the review from last year, and the job description that is the one that we approved, the one that he's been working against. In the folder, in the separate folder outside of the monthly folders in the big water sewer shared folder, labeled job descriptions. In there are all the union job descriptions, and the job descriptions that Jacobs Consulting Firm created for for the superintendent and for the administrative assistant. I finally figured it out when I opened up the administrative assistant one, and the very first line referred to clerk. I know for a fact that the word clerk would have immediately raised a flag on me to have it changed, because that position is more than a clerk's position. So, in any case, that particular, we have dual job descriptions. We're gonna need to go back to the drawing board, I guess, and clear it up with, the personnel department of the town of Dudley to assure that the proper job description is there.
We don't have a personnel board, do we?
We have a personnel director.
We have a personnel director,
Oh, we do?
yes. That's part of the indirects. That's part of the indirects. I mean, in the indirects, we're paying for a personnel board that hasn't been in existence for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we need to get George's evaluation done. It's overdue now, correct? But the approved job description is in the folder, under 5/3/23 in George's review. So please get that done, and we can go through that. It's pretty extensive. It's a new evaluation form. It's 6 pages long.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
It's 6 pages long, and it's not something you can just sit down and blast off in a couple hours. It's gonna take some time. I started working on it last week, over a week ago, and then had to go back and forth and just, it's gonna take some time. So we really need to, but it needs to get done, because it's not fair to our superintendent to not have that done.
So what is the option once we do the evaluation?
You get to determine.
We present it, and that determines
So who determines
an increase.
an increase or what?
We do.
You,
And what is our option there? 'Cause I know the last time we were told it had to stay within that chart.
yes,
It stays within the scale.
yes.
So do we have the scale
Yes,
for the two of you?
yes.
I'll make sure that you get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have them contact you about, and then I will email you everything too.
Yeah, the scale is there. That set, we have to stay within, one of you is 3 and one of you is 4, right?
Three.
4 something, whatever it is.
No, yeah.
Level, yeah, he's
Level
4.
3.
I'm level
Level
3.
4, yep.
You're level 3 now? And you're
Yes.
level 4 now?
Yes.
Right.
I think that scale is off whack, too.
And, yeah, it seems like that's backwards. It seems like level 5 should be the lowest level, and then level 1 the highest, but that's just the way I think. So in any case, those performance evaluations, we need to get those done, to be fair to our employees. Also, there's a folder in there for Jen's review,
George,
done by George. So give it a review, and then we can, there is a sign off for next level. Yeah, George would sign that, and then the next level up would be, I guess, us,
And the
What-
rates that would go into effect would be
July
July
1st.
1st,
So we still got next month.
Right,
yes.
but this really should have been done
It's on my calendar for
January.
next February.
January,
Yeah, to be
February
honest, it
timeframe.
should be done before we're doing the budget, so we know what
Right.
the budget.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna take a review back, because after tonight and all these mess-ups, I might have to change this a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty extensive review process.
Brought a headache tonight.
Okay, budget revenue review, 2024. I know we received, in our folder, for those who can get it,
No, not a problem.
there is a, where is it, budget revenue? Oh, come on. I hate touchscreens. These are touchscreen, yes. Budget revenue, what's it? So, In there is the revenue year-to-date. We're in pretty decent shape. Okay, weekly, it's called Weekly Expense Report, fiscal 2023. That is the budget to date, and both departments are right about where they should be. If you look at the salary line items and compare the total budget percentage, we're right where we should be.
So, you don't happen to know off the top of your head, the 20%.
Why is it only those particular ones?
Right.
What did that
I mean,
20%
where's like corporations or companies?
revenue?
That doesn't make sense. That would be,
I don't know the number.
I'm
Do
so
you
sorry.
happen to know?
I didn't hear, I apologize.
Well, when they voted on the 20% increase on the rates,
Yes,
do we know what that projected 20% brought in for revenue?
I may have that, bear with me.
There it is, okay. So it looks like sewer is has 36% left. But there are still some 100% line items. Like sewer insurance, for example, is still listed as 100%.
Not anymore after you signed tonight.
Oh, okay. So that number, 36%, where the payroll lines are about 20% left.
And on those percentages, are those percentages based on what we signed or what has been paid, because we don't know if there's stuff.
It's, nothing in there
Right.
has been taken out, but everything else has been.
Even stuff that hasn't been processed and checks done.
That's correct.
Right.
Because
I don't
This-
wanna have a false sense of 36% and find out.
This-
that
No,
there's
This comes from the accountant.
right, and I make sure that I'm balancing with her.
This comes from the accountant, and water, for your benefit, water right now is currently at 37.82%, and that will change with any vouchers that we sign today. So those are still very good shape. The overspends are in gasoline. Gasoline, we're like 75% over. And overtime. But then differential pay, sick time buyback are still at 100%. Granulated carbon filter, 50,000 is still 100%, but we're not gonna end up using that. That was put in there just in case.
and the reason why your gas is up and your overtime is pretty self-evident.
Right.
With the amount of running around we're doing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, responses to
What's over is
emergencies.
expected, but then there are many line items that are, electricity is still 20% left, postage, water communications is 55% left. I mean, there's still quite a few line items that have quite a bit of money left in there. So, debt service is still at 60%. So we're in pretty good shape, budget-wise.
I don't, Bob, Brian must have had it, and I don't.
We still have not received a revenue report from the treasurer's office. That's going back to October. But we did get our very competent administrative assistant contacted the accountant, and the accountant sent us a revenue report that it's just year-to-date. It doesn't have, let's see, which one is it? Water, sewer revenue. And they are right where they should be. For example, we put in our budget that our expected revenue for water was gonna be 1,828,000. We have currently received revenue of 1,488,000. We still have one more quarter left, and that shows that we'll be in very good shape there. And then sewer is the same thing. What's that?
No, our last one just went out.
It just, yeah, somebody said they just received it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
we haven't received any, but it should be received before June 30th.
Yes.
And then, so on the sewer, we budgeted that we were gonna receive $1,379,687, and we've, up to the end of March, we've received, $1,251,671.5, so that one's in really good shape. So, we're gonna have some retained earnings, I would assume from both departments, in anticipation of our, the big borrowings,
Yeah.
when those,
There'll still be a, don't forget, for the dump truck coming in September, that's gonna be a 245 reduction with the retained earnings. So just be aware of that.
but that should
That
have
was
already
approved.
been,
That was a separate
should.
article.
A separate
that-
article, but it's still gonna be.
That article should have been already pulled out,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that should already-
that article should already be encumbered. So that shouldn't be in retained earnings anymore,
Well,
so,
it's not encumbered because it's not a previous year.
No.
You know.
But I
Should
mean,
already
it's-
be-
it-
Should be already be.
Committed.
You-
it should already be committed to that, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
in retained earnings anymore, listed as retained earnings anymore.
I just want people to look at it
We've spent
sometimes, oh, we got all this.
I don't know what our,
It's a giant.
Yeah,
I don't know what our actual retained earnings numbers are now, but we do at least have a revenue
Eight
blueprint.
something, seven,
Um,
eight something.
I have that somewhere.
Thanks to the town accountant.
Where did you get the 1,400?
What's that?
Where did you get the
Sewer has
1,400?
840,
1488, that's in
840
the,
sewer.
yeah.
It's water.
that's
This was
reported
September. It
as
was 991.
total revenues for water as of March 31st. That's a different report.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the number.
Yeah, I just had
Receivable.
paper.
so that's about 300 per quarter.
That's about, yeah, that's 3/4, you divide that by thirds.
300 a quarter,
Yeah, we've collected 81%,
you know.
so we're.
So how much of that is a-
Right.
So in another month, when these bills are
a year
hopefully
before
paid.
that?
Yeah, we're going to have surplus on
Could-
both, but
I
we
can go back.
anticipated
Yeah,
having,
That was the intention.
Yeah,
the intention was to have some surplus in anticipation
These
of
bills make
of
it
some,
revenue due to meter.
some big,
Meter
Yeah.
big borrows, which will
I thought it was
eventually
about 50 or so thousand.
come to be, and this will just
Course of like a
I
year.
would say so, at least.
lessen
Yeah,
the
have we
blow.
received any big bills from Winston? Not really, huh?
No, well, that's still
That's
being,
separate.
that's
That's
still being
separate on the
paid.
SRF.
That's still being paid by the SRF.
Oh, okay.
The SRF pays that,
Oh, it goes through that first.
and then, once it's all done, then the state will hit us. And then we have to start paying
Okay.
it back. So, it's a pain in the neck for paperwork and things like that, but,
It's already been.
it's a great way to be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
They pay all the bills and then bill us for it afterwards. I mean, it seems,
Yeah, put you on a payment schedule.
it's a great way to do it. Let's see, back to OneDrive, see if I did this right. I did, cool. And then Jen has been, playing around with the, not playing around, but, playing around with the features of Vader, and was able to pull up some reports. Those are the copies I believe you've got there.
Yes.
Those are reports that she was able to pull out of Vader herself. So, yet another reason why we might be able to, another argument for tomorrow night.
And I'm in the process of trying to get access to how I can get the revenue reports. Because supposedly I can just access them, but I don't know where they are, so I have to find that out.
Okay,
So I
and you're doing that with the folks from Vadar?
Yes.
Okay, well, soon enough we'll be able to control our own destiny.
Do you have, access to the unpaid?
I would think so. I would think so.
Well, you did, in here, didn't you give us a report on
What's been leaned,
leaned?
yeah.
Yes, but that doesn't account for
Yes.
So
unpaid
lean-
stuff yet.
well,
Leaned is stuff that's really unpaid.
Right, it is unpaid, but 30th, 2022, so
Right.
whatever we haven't collected this year, but just based on what we expected for revenues between water and sewer, that's 5.4% of our expected revenues. So in theory,
Yes.
if we collected that $173,620, we could have raised the rates by 14.6% instead of 20%.
Right.
Because we don't have the information, so we can go collect money from the people that are not paying, that should be paying. So the people that pay their bills have to pay an extra 5.4% of the rates, because we're not given the information so we can go and collect our revenue.
So we do have the report, and this is all process that we're gonna have to,
And I've emailed Vadar to find out what else I can,
so we'll just continue to
I'll ask about unpaid.
move forward with gaining the information that we have as of so far not been able to get very easily. Okay, anything else on, I mean, I've done all the talking on the budget stuff, but that's where it's all at. If anybody wants, take a look at those numbers. To me, they look like we're in pretty decent shape.
Is there any big ticket, I mean, it seemed like he takes all the big stuff up front,
The,
like indirects and stuff like that, but is there any, like, loan, any debt service, is that
I
paid
just-
at the end or at the beginning?
I just did a debt service.
For one of the main projects.
No, it was, I just did one, I don't remember.
Water or sewer?
I think it was actually
And then each?
both, I think.
In here?
Yeah,
So that would be Mellon, I believe, isn't it? Usually the debt service stuff?
no, it was, it's actually a wire. No, it might have been, maybe it was water? It was a wire transfer it was US Bank.
US Bank, that's it.
Yeah, it must have been water, sorry. There's been a lot going on.
Oh, for the borrowing, for the,
I don't remember which one it was for.
I'm assuming it's a big number.
Yeah,
Insurance general?
Nope. Insurance General, that's the one of the 100% line items that, so it's finally being billed.
is that to US Bank?
No.
Okay.
But that's
Yep.
$30,000.
Right,
Right.
and water was,
That was one.
okay, yeah, sewer was only 10.4. But I thought there was a,
And I'm just curious, because,
oh yeah. Do read this.
224,000.
Okay. What does it say it's for?
There's a page, the pages are attached, because it does break it down a little more.
I didn't see the vouchers.
So water pumping station, engineering services, water and well. It's the ones you circled, right?
Yep,
Those were date of issue 2021, so May of 21.
That is, that's Station 3.
Yeah.
Station 3, Station 7.
47,
Yep.
I think that might be I don't think there should be anything else that big.
You need to work on your memory.
I know, there's a lot of stuff going on in here right now.
Okay,
But
so,
this isn't one of our, is this part of our budget?
Debt services, yes.
yes,
But,
the debt service line on water was still at 60% unspent,
okay.
60% left, so,
But that's a separate line item than the ones that you were talking about with the 37.2%.
Yeah.
right, 37.82% is the total. That's the total budget.
Is that including debt?
That includes the debt. Our debt line item is on that.
Okay, so
they're not doing anything.
That number should drop,
Keeping it
because
the same.
we don't have
Webster
a third of the year left. We only
That's
have,
her complaint.
6.16.
we have 2 months left. Actually, from
Half our system is
that
elderly people.
report, we've got 3 months left.
Hey, Jude, that's.
I know.
So, yeah, we only have a couple months left, so,
Well, from today, we got 26.16% of the year left. So that's, we're 10% ahead of the game, but if we've got a $230,000
Right.
bill,
Right.
that's gonna drop
It's
it down.
gonna drop it down, but we're pretty,
So we're not in great shape, but we're right on target.
we're on target, yeah.
I just don't want
We're at least on target.
to have
And
I just want clear understanding that
Right.
it's not as good as it sounds.
No, oh, no,
Some
no.
numbers that
No.
are still waiting.
There are still
Absolutely.
some things that have to come, and there's some things that I believe they're gonna hit us for right at the end of the year.
So it's,
So,
if
and that's
your
that's
debt's your
fine.
debt, they know that number down to the penny, they
Right.
should know, so if that's a 60% left, these numbers.
The more, the concerning lines, and they're not really that concerning, are gasoline and overtime. And there's reasons for both.
Yeah, the overtime I can see.
You know, gasoline just wasn't,
That fluctuates.
obviously wasn't
anyhow,
budgeted
you know?
enough, but you can't, the gas prices have jumped all over the place in the last year, so it's hard to budget for that. All right, anybody have anything else on budget? Okay, indirect costs, unpaid bills, town treasurer, collector. The unpaid bills thing, I think I already, there was one unpaid bill.
For fiscal year 2022, but she actually contacted the auditor, and because it's a payment within the town, it can be paid.
It can be paid without, okay, so.
So it doesn't have to be a
need-
warrant article.
That's, okay, that was the other warrant article I was thinking that would have to go. There was one thing that we received the bill in October for stuff that happened pre-June, pre-July.
okay.
We couldn't pay it.
Question for the board, tomorrow's meeting, is there gonna be board members present there? I know you're gonna go.
We have a posted meeting.
Yep.
So
We
it's
have a
vitally
posted meeting.
important that your questions get answered correctly, and that there's a set, schedule of what they're to get, because the town treasurer, a town administrator, needs to get that final number of what he can expect from
Mhm.
here for indirect costs.
Mhm.
So, and I know, the town treasurer will be there at the meeting too, so, I just wanna make sure there's a couple of you there.
Oh, yeah. It's last week when all of this started brewing, I asked, actually on election day, I had our administrative assistant post a meeting for tomorrow night, which is the joint meeting of the selectmen and the finance board, and for next Monday night, which is another joint meeting of the, they originally wanted us to come to their Thursday night meeting, but you ask us on Tuesday to come to a meeting on Thursday, one, we can't prepare for it, and then only two of us can show up. Because we can't have a quorum, because we can't post the meeting. So, I spoke with the town administrator, and he agreed that it would be Thursday night, and I told everybody about it Wednesday night at the meeting in Webster, but we do have posted meetings for both of those days, if they're needed. So, indirect costs, we'll discuss that with them tomorrow. I know that's the big thing that they want to discuss. We budgeted for half, and
And you were saying the schedule? What do you mean about the schedule?
I think it's.
For a time for the upcoming, budget for the town, because
Oh, so he can schedule his, so he
you
can
can get an exact figure for, yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking schedule, just when you said schedule, it made me think that, I don't think it's fair that we're paying indirect, because they take the entire indirect at the beginning of June, July.
Right.
Yeah, first thing.
I mean, does the town pay in advance services or anything? Like, if they're doing, if the auditing company comes in, do they pay them in July for an audit they're gonna do in October?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying people's salaries and expenses in advance.
They don't pay National Grid up.
Should have used the
front,
word
gas
time
and electric.
frame. He's
So,
on
I
a
mean,
time
It should be like a
schedule.
monthly transfer, if it's, say it's $12,000,
Yeah.
$12,000 a month.
Monthly or quarterly, like you
After
say,
we're
yeah.
done, because we're paying for services that we're not even getting.
Haven't even
So-
received. That's a big hit, to take that all out at
Right, but
once.
I mean, that's money that should be in our account collecting interest, and they're pulling it all right away.
Mhm.
And it, yeah, and,
That's additional revenue
and,
that we
and
could be
and the,
bringing
the
in.
question of what should we be paying for?
What's the accurate?
What are we paying for?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but if everybody quit on
So-
July 3rd, and they
so we
have
need to
all the
make sure-
money, who are we paying?
We have the list of questions, I have them printed.
You,
in that
all have
folder there.
questions that you all,
The
'cause it's like a
questions to-
one-shot deal now, we could, you know,
to-
hate to say it like that.
But, I mean,
Yeah, we're at the end of the line here.
Right.
How many times-
it's a little late to be dealing with this, but we're dealing with it anyways, finally. Webster True Up, we were all at the meeting. Well, it's good to have you here. We had a meeting with Webster and we gave them a proposal
I
for,
saw the
for the
proposal.
Truesdell. Yeah, Jen, you sent it to him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I email him everything.
20% of capital and 0%, a zeroed out number of true up. Their meeting is next Wednesday, a week from today. So that's when they said they would discuss
Hash it
it and
out,
they would come back to us. And we'll see where it goes. So it's moving, and then the payments to Webster are going to be increased by 10%. And I believe that's already been put into the sewer budget and sent to the corner office. Okay. Superintendent's report.
Item number 2, I didn't have the results till just today, but because you guys had wanted to just see how we're doing on our PFAS. Station 7 raw was 17.2, and Station 6 raw was 8.77. Which
Raw? Okay, they both passed.
raw, both raw.
Yeah.
So everything else
They
non-detect.
passed.
Everything else non-detect.
Yeah, it's not,
But-
it should be non-detect coming out of the.
But as
filter.
we go forward to this transition from on our GAC, our vessels, and we may have to blend at a time, and the new requirements are gonna be coming, it's gonna be a close shave. Hopefully we're gonna get under the new regulations by then.
So which
Like
station was 17.2? Station 7.
7 raw, 17.2, and that fluctuates a bit. That goes up a little, goes down a little.
Goes from like 17 to 22.
Yeah.
Six-
We're
16 to
17,
20.
sell all the tricky stuff.
Yeah.
Put a halt on
Oh,
everything.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, put a halt on
Yeah, put
everything.
yeah, stop the.
Who
stop
said
up
that,
the
Bob?
job.
And got it.
Yeah.
Just, you guys have any questions on anything on the list that, I just wanted to, I've never come across this in my years of doing water work. I don't know if Bob has, but we had a very interesting situation on Tanyard Road, and I explained it a bit, but I'm not sure if anybody quite understands what that is. Huh?
Oh, I didn't give you a copy. Oh, here, I meant to bring this over to you.
Oh.
Okay.
We had a leak at 31 Tanyard Road. That's the top house going up on the left before you hit Center Road. They've had some interesting dilemmas there. Thought it was a standard service. Got down to it from the curb stop, from digging in the driveway. We found a 2-inch curb stop there. Okay. So after getting more digging done, it's about 5.5 feet down, we got down to it more. We found a 1-inch plastic tying into it from the house, okay? From the curb stop out to the main is a 2-inch iron pipe. So we were lucky enough, so we had to call in some reinforcement there. We got into a major dig situation, dug down in the main 6 feet at Tanyard Road, found a 1-inch corporation with a 1-inch plastic pipe. 1-inch plastic pipe going into that. Okay.
1-inch pipe going into 2-inch
So now you've got
plastic going into 2-inch.
So after measuring, we used the tape, we were able to figure out right at the sewer main, there was a transition point. So whoever was digging in there, and if somebody had to go in dig, you don't have the, you
When
know.
they were putting the sewer line in, the guy ripped through the water line, and
And
he got
patched it.
whatever he had.
Yeah,
with
the main is
iron
right there,
pipe and-
the main is right there at the sewer basically anyway. So that 20-foot piece of iron pipe, back in them days, standardly, you have to dig them up pretty much and trench them to get them out. Or if you're lucky, some ways like I was, after 10 minutes of fighting it and whacking at it and everything, we were able to pull the whole thing out at once with our machine. But I'll tell you something, that's not something you enjoy because you're gonna snap a chain
Yeah.
or get somebody hurt doing it, trying to do it. But we got it out, and I've never seen a piece like that, left like that, with
So
two transitions.
Was the iron pipe actually the pipe? because we've done it before.
Yes.
The
You
typical
put one into the,
was one through.
was the pipe, was the actual feeding of the water
I
pipe.
would say, because if it was crossing a sewer line.
It wasn't a sleeve.
Technically should have been a sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could have ran the,
And that's what we thought originally, that, hey, man, to run this through to, and we were gonna think of doing it, I says, wait a minute, something's not right here. But it, thank God the pipe integrity was strong, so it didn't crush under the chain and everything. We were able to fight it out and everything. But just some interesting food for thought. No matter, in all your years, you think you've seen everything, and you don't. And it just continues like that. So, but anyway, sewer, I'm not mentioning names or anything like that, but I want you to pay a little bit of attention on the issue with the posting
The
of
new
the
hire.
sewer job there and what happened with that. That wasted about a month of our time. I'm not gonna get into details because it's spelled out there and I don't wanna get into names. But right now.
That is public information, you know.
Yeah, but I don't like saying on, later, but right now, our employee is going to be moving into the sewer job because he thinks it's more guaranteed overtime with every other weekend being on call. So now I'm gonna repost a water job again, but I would like to make the change on that water position to include a 90-day period to get at least a T1 license.
Can we do that within the union?
Yes, we've already talked to the representative, they don't see a problem with that, because we're in a desperate situation of,
Well, we can declare institutional need.
yeah, that's exactly what it says. And it's not asking for a whole lot more either. 90 days is quite a long time to get it, just have to go take your tests, and, there's not many classes out there now, so, it is what it is. So, I mean, we have to do what we have to do. After that, I'm not so worried about time frame for a distribution. It's treatment I need for weekend coverages. So we'll give another shot at the apple, but I explained to the union rep that after this happens again, this commotion again from where, all bets are off, we're going outside, and I'm not even gonna consider an internal candidate. This is ridiculous.
What's with the metal building? Number 12.
It's prefabbed up already in Connecticut. It's, they don't need it anymore because it was used to store apparatus, during the demolition of their flooring over there. It's $14,000, all the insulation's with it. It's 40 by 22. The only problem is we're gonna have to probably dismantle it somewhat to get it over here. So that's a.
Where are you planning on putting a building that
Sewer
big?
department. Sewer department has room over there for it. So it'll be shared by water and sewer together. They'll buy it together and share it with equipment together. Too much equipment is crowding our garages, but the equipment is stuff that's needed at future times and stuff. We've got a new trench box, trailers, and I'd like to look down in line at a mini. So I definitely need the room in there to start looking at these things. And they've got the room, and it's gated in all over there.
So who's gonna dismantle it and move it?
We will, maybe with the help of the contractor or something, and I've asked Ramco to look into the moving part with a low boy, if we have to put it in sections. You're only talking 3 miles or so to move it over. But prefab buildings are out of sight now. They're all in the 25,000 range for that type of building, and that doesn't include insulation. So we've got all that coming our way. So we'd like to start that sometime in after July 1, split it off and do it that way. But I'm arranging with Ramco or whoever to try to see what it would take to move it over without getting into road restrictions. So I think it's a good building to get. And I know the sewer needs the room too. They're jammed up.
Does that sit on a pad? Is it bolted into the concrete
6-inch
pad?
cement pad, we'd have it laid
The
out,
frame gets bolted?
bolted down into that pad.
What's it on now when you look at it? Is it on the ground or is it?
It's on a pea stone
Pins?
surface
Just
because it was
sitting there.
temporary. I was just sitting there for just to get them by. We could put electricity to it or whatever we want to do down the future. But I just need to get something in here to start.
Do you think that could be lifted one piece?
If you put boarding and planking underneath, but the problem is it's too high. It'll reach over the 14-foot.
All right.
So, and the road permits and that are expensive. So it might be worth it just to dismantle it. It's only,
it'll cost you more than road permits.
yeah, so metal screws is pretty easy just to zip them off. I was involved with the construction of it. Group of us did it down there and took us about a week or so to construct it. It wasn't, there's plans with it and that, so I think taking it apart isn't gonna be, just little time consuming, but we'll do it in sections or whatever.
Okay.
Anything else on the report that,
You got money to buy the building this year?
we probably do, but I wanted to wait because I don't have the manpower right now to even tackle it.
Right, but you could purchase it.
I could purchase it, and I've already rendered an agreement with them, and they're expecting it sometime in July anyway,
Is-
so,
Is that below the,
yes.
having to go to capital?
No, that's 20,000 of capital.
Okay,
This
okay,
is 14.
just wanna be sure. Because that is capital, that's a building.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on the superintendent's report? Okay. Public and board comments? Nope, okay, Bob? Okay.
No.
George?
No, I guess I'm good.
You have a letter from a resident?
Oh, that's right, there was a letter from a resident.
Good or
on
bad, I don't
here.
want any bad.
Okay, come on, go back,
Is that
there we
that
go.
one?
It is letter from resident, okay, it, basically is, why does it look, wants to download it. Okay, basically, it's a print, it's a copy of, an article about Webster Water Sewer Commission. They offer a senior discount rate of 20% on their bills. And it basically has the resident's name and phone number, and the question, please call, why can't Dudley do this? Asking about a senior discount.
Wait a minute. Before we get into discounts, Jen, you brought it up 2 months ago through the act that you
Yep. the Worcester-
procured to help us out through Worcester Community Action.
Right.
There it is, through Worcester Community Action.
So they just need to apply for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's out there.
And it
And
may,
that's actually not just a 20%.
that's a good,
That's
a
covering the
quarter.
whole bill.
it covers a good amount of it, right?
Yeah.
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 Our main base of people on our system are elderly people.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would require a rate study to look at what that would affect,
But on
what
that-
the
on
effect
that-
of that would be.
On that subject, Mr. Chairman, there is aid out there.
Okay,
Right, there's 8 out there, and in order for us to impose a 20% on the seat for a senior discount rate, we would have to raise the regular rate
Mhm.
Subsidize.
To cover.
to cover that.
to cover it, right.
So everybody's rate could go up, so it's kind of an artificial 20%, because you're raising the rates, and then you drop it, but
So that
I
20%
guess
would only
Webster
be
does
probably,
something like that, or the
probably
state
only be
leader, I don't
15
know.
or 16%,
But
once you, yeah, depending on what percent of folks that would qualify for it. Okay, but it's there for your consideration.
Well, like I said, the rebuttal is Worcester Community Action.
Right, and they just came by today, Worcester Community Action Council, and they're sending me the link to start, they've already spoken to people from town, and will be, yep.
When is our next meeting?
Your next meeting is, what are we, May,
7
June?
June.
Yeah,
When is the town elections?
the 12th.
Okay, you have one more meeting with us
That's
then.
right.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure if this was the last meeting that,
aren't we getting the summer off from meetings? You said that before.
we haven't had a month off of meetings in a long time. Did we skip our December meeting? No, we didn't. We
No,
still
we
had
didn't
it.
skip anything.
No.
We
We
still
just
have, we
added.
haven't, we keep adding, we were adding
keep
meetings.
adding more meetings.
So, in any case, that's, we got one more month.
Yep.
Can you
Okay.
drive here next month?
Oh, yeah.
We'll come pick you up if you.
Oh, yeah.
I got my scooter. Got my scooter.
Yep.
Kicking and screaming, we'll come and pick you up.
No, I saw him at the election, he was buzzing right around.
Okay,
I run over
so,
people in the grocery store.
Okay.
It's in the
do we
junk
have
mode.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.